right, good morning, everybody. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful week. Let's get it kicked off. Gonna go ahead and post to get everybody in here. Let's see. Yeah, I got the right link there. I don't know why it says. Perfect. Let's go. All right. So I hopped on here a few minutes or a little earlier. This way we get everyone to kind of tune in here. We'll hang tight till around 8:35. That way when everyone's here, we can get going. So we'll hang tight a little bit here. We'll wait. And then at around 8:35, we'll get started. Obviously with the market analysis on the SPY and the Q. Then we'll dive into some pre-alerts, and then we'll get right into some of the Q&A about your favorite stocks. All right. Raybad Nap, good morning. Marjan, good morning. Eric, yo, good morning, my man. Mel's, good morning from New York City. New York. All right. Let's get people slowly trickling in here. Levin's Holmes, good morning. All right. Almost creeping 8:30 here. We'll wait till around 8:35, then we'll get things popping. Excited. Man, I love water. All right, let's see here. Vic Pin, good morning. Daniel, good morning. Ajaya, good morning. Gabriel, good morning. All right. People slowly creeping in. Foolish Snowboarder, good morning. Kaka. What's going on, man? Angel, good morning. Nice to see you guys here. Nice and early, 8:30. Early bird gets the worm. Let's get it. Good morning, AMD calls. Looking to get back in. Nice. All right. We'll wait about 5 minutes till 8:35. Once that happens, we'll start getting involved here. Sky, good morning, lovely people. What's going on, man? Jamarcus, good morning. Z, morning, sunshine. All the early birds are here. Let's take a look at, I believe this jobs report numbers comes out today. Let's take a look at it. Comes out every Thursday, so. Jobless claims forecasted 1340, and the actual was 1384. So a little bit higher than expected, which is a negative slightly here, but market hasn't really reacted too much with it here. Elvis, good morning. What's going on, Elvis? All right, guys, 8:32. At 8:35, we'll get started. For those of you that are here nice and early, there's about 35 of you. Let's all go ahead and smash that like button. I will greatly appreciate it if we do that. It would be amazing to get those likes up to the same view counts. So if you guys are here and you're ready to learn, go ahead and smash that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. Durable good numbers today as well. Yep. All right. 8:33 here shortly. We'll wait 2 more minutes. Then we'll dive in. Obviously, We'll do the market analysis on the SPY and the Qs, where we are, where we're going, and then we'll dive into some of the free alerts. Then we'll take your Q&As regarding some of the tickers you want me to take a look at, how I kind of look at them, what I think my opinion on them are, and of course, as always, if you guys do have a question regarding a ticker, make sure you let me know. Are you day trading it, swing trading it, and if you want to buy calls or puts? That way it helps establish where your mind's at, and I can kind of help you guys out with that. So we'll wait about a minute and a half here, and then we'll dive right in. Little Johnny, good morning. What's going on, man? Nawawi Aziz, what's going on? Good morning. From Kuala Lumpur. Wow. That's a distance and a half from all the other people on this side of the world. Alright, got one more minute here, guys. We'll wait for another minute. 8:35. We'll get started. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't done so already. It would be amazing. Alright. Few more seconds and we'll dive right in. Thursdays are good days. So not much of a reaction off of those jobs report numbers here. Still very tight price action here in the pre-market. Edgar, just in time. Good morning, my man. Billy, what happened to Tesla? Was that a beat or a miss? It was a beat, but they sold their Bitcoin, which was causing a little bit of confusion on the final numbers. All right, so it's 8:35. Let's dive right in here. So we're going to start with the SPY, and a few things to note here. All right, so we've had this constant rejection of the 20 moving average on the way down here, right? This little consolidation here that we failed to break out, this little bull flag that we failed to break out, really brought things back down, giving us some big gaps on the downside. All right, selling pressure accelerated here, and we've tried to kind of make our way back up. We essentially put in a little bit of a nice resistance here at this 390.75 area, and very briefly we put in this two double bottoms here with the neckline being 390.75. Again, that resistance, right? On the 19th we closed right above it. It was probably the first sign that we were going to start trying to penetrate above towards this upper area here. We closed above the 50. We had a nice close over that resistance area. And if you guys know, and you've kind of followed along in my journey here, there's a nice pocket up top, right? So what does that mean? There isn't much resistance that we may face here. And right now, this 395.79 level, this 396 level is that area that if we maintain above, we will enter a gap fill towards the upside, towards 401, right? You can see this hollow space here. That's the gap. So we could enter that area and continue to push higher before we start seeing some resistance. Now there's a little bit of, I guess, confluence here that kind of that happens with the SPY and the Qs, and we'll get to that. Just remember where the SPY is as I'm talking about it, and then when we jump into the Qs, I'll explain what I mean with that. All right, so let's jump into the 15-minute time frame. Let me pull my levels up and tell you guys what it is that I'm focusing on today. Okay, so let's go. This 394.17 area, you can see we've had a lot of sideways consolidation here. Okay, but that's the level I'm focusing on today. I want to see what's going to happen at this level. Okay, I'm paying attention to this 394.17 area, and then obviously if we can get back above this 395.98, Then we're looking for a push to the 398 and obviously 400. We talked about that level of 395.79, right? 395.79 being that area of the trigger to enter the gap fill. So if we can open anywhere close to this 396 area, we are essentially in the gap fill. Once we get into the gap fill, we do have room to push up towards that 400, 401 area, and that's kind of what I'll be paying attention to. So remember these levels on the upside. The resistance points, yes, we are in the gap fill, yes, but it doesn't mean that we're going to just get a straight squeeze to the 401. This is the market we're talking about. It's not a stock. It's going to be slightly different, and it will act slightly different. So over this 396 level, you got room to 398, 400, and then above that really opens up to 403, okay? But again, this 394 has to hold. We have to maintain above this in order to try and make an attempt to that. On the overall outlook, we are leaning a little bit bullish. As I said, we do have that double bottom and the gap overhead at 396, okay? So that's kind of what to pay attention to. On the downside, obviously, if we manage to maintain below this 394.17 and still go consolidate sideways, we have to wait for a volume move to the up or down. And if the volume move comes to the downside, well then what level are we going to pay attention to? It's going to be that 392.81, right? 392.81 is that support. Respected fairly well yesterday. You can see you had that double bottom at this 391 level, 392.81 level, and then it kind of took off and hit our resistance here. Okay, so 392.81, if we lose that, we come back down to the support right here. These pre-market lows, these wicks, and the opening low, that's going to be our next support. And then under that, you're hitting 389.50. So for those of you that are here, go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you need. These are the levels to pay attention to today. The most important one, obviously, going to be this one right here. That line, the 394.17, we need to see how we're going to react, but obviously we're getting that strong push right now in the pre-market. If we open at 396, we're going to have a nice little run up, in my opinion, towards those upside gap fills. All right, so now let's jump into the Qs, and I want to talk about what I mean. So take a look at this consolidation here. All right, now let's go back to the SPY. That consolidation happened all the way up here, right? Look at where price action is and compared to that consolidation. Now let's go back to the Qs. Look at where the price action is in comparison to this consolidation, right? So although the SPY has more room and this second gap has already been filled on the Qs is actually starting to come into an area of congestion or consolidation from the past that we may possibly see some rejection. Okay. Now with a strong market, we could very well test these upside resistance areas inside that consolidation. But just take a look at where we are, and I kind of want to pay attention to that. You see this one gap and the second gap. Take a look at the Qs. You have this one gap and the second gap. They happened at a lower area. Consolidation happened at a lower area, and with the SPY, you still have a little bit of room to track back here. So what does that mean? That means simply pay attention to your tech names. If your tech names are starting to get weaker, focus on names that are in the SPY that don't follow the Qs. So that may be energy, utilities, materials that might be moving a little bit better today in regards to the Qs, because the Qs is going to be stuck pretty close to resistance. All right, so with that said, let's jump right into the levels on the Qs. Okay, so again, very clear resistant points right here, 296.82, right? We penetrated above that, we closed green, volume was coming in. That was the first sign here that we might have continuation the following day, and we did. We got the continuation yesterday coming into this area of 302 resistance, right? Now we do have room to kind of try to push that 306, and obviously the next resistance above that is going to be pretty close to this 312 area. You can see that's where we're starting seeing some rejection from back in June. So these are the levels that you got to kind of pay attention to, right? Now we'll jump into the 15-minute time frame, and we'll take a look at the closer areas. So again, the 302 level was what I was paying attention to, and if you pay attention here, there's a massive flat top being formed on the Qs, right? And we just broke out of that. Look at the volume that just came in here. So this right here is a bullish pattern, obviously. People call it a flat top, you can call it a flag, whatever the case may be. We have very clear resistance, bam, 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 right? We have higher lows, and price action is getting tighter. Now we broke out of that price action. Price is shooting up, volume is coming up. All right, let's see if this confirmation is gonna hold. The key thing here will be the open, all right? Been plenty of times where we've seen the pre-market or market makers push things up, get everybody excited, and then just plummet it at the open. So now the key thing here will be to stay above this 304 level. Then we can look to track to 306, 312, right? These are the levels to the upside to pay attention to. Now, on the downside, if this decides to roll over, remember, you're going to get a lot of people who are already long, who are anticipating a further move up. And if this plummets back down, we've got to pay attention to this 301.50 and then 300 level. Let me put this actual levels up here so you can pay attention. So these are my actual levels. You guys can screenshot this one. The other one was a cleaner version. So yeah, if we lose this 301.60, you're looking to retest these lows of 299 and then 297.67, which is yesterday's pre-market lows. All right. So that is that. Let me jump into the chat here, see if there's any questions while I'm still here. How long think ago? Today. Simon, good morning. Smash that like button, Don. Yes, yes, yes. Don't worry about what Bullard says. Don't pay attention to this. It's not a very significant event. Z. All right. So now with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the free alerts. And for the free alerts, I got snow today, 157.50, which is essentially triggering here in the pre-market. Strong move yesterday, nice consolidation, almost a little bit of a pennant here. I want it over the 157.50. If we get above that, I'm looking for the trigger there, 157.50 area, which is sitting right around here. Stay above that, you're looking at 159, and then it really opens up. All right, that's the long side trigger that I'm paying attention to on snow. If we do roll over and start breaking down under the 155 level, then I'm looking to take advantage of this pullback down into the support of 152, and then under that we really open up as we have a nice hollow space intraday. All right, so 157.50 to the upside and 155 to the downside in regards to snow. UPST is the next one. With UPST, we can see we got pretty good support right here at the 28.50 level. But also we have pretty good resistance right here at 29.60. Okay, so this little hump that we're in, that's what I need to clear. I don't want to buy calls into this hump because we failed to break that hump for a reason. Somebody was selling into that level right there. So unless we get over 29.60, then I'll look to take triggers back up to the 30 level, 31 level, and under that 28.50 level, which is right around the support in the pre-market and after hours yesterday. That's where I'm looking to buy the puts to bring this back down towards that 26.50, 27 level. Okay, so those are the triggers for UPST. Next, we got NVAX. NVAX, I'm looking at the 60.50 level. Why? You can see there's clear resistance right here, right? So if we can clear that 60.50, we should be able to push back up into the 62.55 level, right? It is putting in an inverse hammer here, however. I do prefer the bottom side trade. However, the upside is always going to be available because there's that room, that potential that we can take advantage of too, okay? So on the downside, we need to get under 58. If we lose 58, you essentially lose all this support that it's put in the last few days, right? 58 is right here. You lose that, you roll back down towards that 55 and possibly 53.50 on the downside. Okay, so those are the three that I'm watching in regards to the free alerts. Now, if you guys do have questions, let me know in the chat. Again, remember, if it's a day trade, let me know. If it's a swing trade, let me know. And you need to tell me whether you're trying to buy calls or puts. I can't read your mind, so I need to know what you're thinking. All right. For those of you that are still here, go ahead and smash that like button. Let's get into some of the trade ideas that you guys are looking at, and we'll get this thing going. I'm in a long-term Google call expiring November. I mean, that's not really long-term, Mel's. What are we in? July, August, September, October, November. 4 months is not considered long-term. Is it a bad idea? I mean, we're stuck in a consolidation level here. This consolidation level has gone from May to July. So I think November for long term is a little too low. It's too early. For long term, you need at least 2 years, at least in these market conditions. And you're still in an area of consolidation. So maybe if you broke out of this, 120 level, you could say, okay, the consolidation broke to the upside. I'm buying calls. Then you can try to take the momentum up. But we've constantly hit an area of resistance right here and an area of support, and we're just like plummeting up and down, right? So it's not ideal. You're stuck in this channel here. So that's that. AMD calls this morning, day trade, don't like to hold anything. All right. AMD calls this morning, day trade. So AMD sitting at around 90.25. Let's draw this out a little bit. 90.25. Perfect. Let's jump into the 15-minute. All right, so it's trying to get above yesterday's high here. For calls, you really have to see this maintain above 90. If it does, you can take advantage of the push up to 90.85. Above that, you have a gap fill, right? Remember this. Above this above the 92.85. So from 90.85, you have a resistance area at 92 that you can take advantage of. And then above the 92.50 is when you enter gap fill on the daily, okay? But you have to wait for this. It broke out nicely here in the pre-market. It needs to stay above 90. If it does, if it starts flagging at the 90 level, you can buy calls. But if it comes back under it, wait for a better pattern. Don't just buy blindly into the calls. Vincent, thanks for all you do, man. Do you have a good Excel form for tracking option trades? I have an Excel form that's designed for shares, but it could be used as options as well. Just send me a DM and I'll be able to send it over to you. It's not shared publicly, unfortunately, but send me a DM on Twitter and I'll share it with you. All right. So that is that. We got the SPY kind of pushing up a little bit here and consolidating. So we're gonna have to pay attention to that. A lot of other names that are kind of holding up here. I'm keeping a close eye on. Obviously, Apple is one of them. Let's take a look at Apple here. Take a look at the daily. All right, so Apple is in a nice little area. There's really not much resistance on Apple now towards that 156, 157 area, and you can see just like the Qs we talked about, right? So Apple is, it's a name that's going to be in the Qs. You have that kind of flat top breaking out, and it's got room to kind of keep going here. So pay attention to this. If we pull back a little bit and buyers come and step back up, this is going to turn around and continue higher as there is not much resistance on the daily with a lot of room to move. So I was just talking about Apple. Yeah, so Apple, like I said, as long as we maintain above this 153.75, this is going to continue moving higher simply because there's not much resistance on the daily. We also have the Qs that kind of broke out. So there, in regards to Apple, there isn't much overhead. So we're gonna have to pay attention to this. I think it just broke out. Had we opened right below this 153.73 would have been a great trigger area to get involved. But now that we're here, we have to wait to see if this is gonna consolidate, pull back, maybe put in a double bottom on the pullback here. If it comes back and does something like this, you can take it right here at that trigger. Or, if we kind of stay, consolidate, and start putting in a flag here, you can take the trigger right there out of the open. A few ways to kind of play this. You have to wait for a little bit to see how price action pans out before you do get involved. Or we can get a strong push and then consolidate, and then you take that flag break right there, right? So a few ways to go about it. The trigger, unfortunately, has already taken place, so we're going to have to wait for this to pan out. If it gets back under the 153.75, I would wait for another bullish move above that in order to get involved in some calls. Edgar, Tesla over 765 for call, day trade, and puts. What? Day trade and puts? What price? Over 765 for calls. I think you're talking about calls. Let's take a look at the daily here. 767 is the exciting part here. Yeah, so on the daily here, 767 is a good resistance area. 767 breaks, you have room to 793. You can see these wicks here. Those are the areas to pay attention to. We've kind of pushed above that and saw some resistance. Your next big area is 793. Okay, so let's go to the 15-minute time frame. You can see we're having a hard time at this 767, failed to close above it. I think if we get back above this 767, or even better, even if you want to be on the safer side, 772, then you can kind of take that trade. If we consolidate right here, if we push up to this level right here, and then kind of put in some sort of a cup and handle against this pre-market level, and then you break out, that's the area you want to take those calls. I wouldn't mind that either. For puts, you probably have to break this 158 level to the downside. If you break that, then you can try to come back down to the 144. Okay, so for calls, possibly above 772. For puts, possibly down under 758. Then you'll get that yank. Remember, IV is extremely high on Tesla today. It's simply due to the earnings. So personally, I think there's better names out there to trade. I wouldn't try to get stuck in this. Lots of people bought calls and puts, and the volatility kind of crushed them. Now they're back at highs. Probably going to be break even. It's tough with earnings, especially on a high IV name. Okay, so be careful with that. Make sure you understand what the IV is and how that affects your premium moving. And if you can, just don't trade names that have earnings that same day. All right, we talked about MVAX. Yes, we did talk about MVAX. Let's see, PayPal is another good one here. For those of you that are looking, see, PayPal's got a strong little resistance here at this 80.43 level, 80.50 level. And it's got nice room to move as well, right? You have this resistance area broke out, pushing up, not much resistance, over 81.60. It also enters into a gap fill. What do you of NEO? So NEO is something that I've held in the long term, unfortunately. I mean, not unfortunately, it's just, it is what it is. And I don't think, I'm very bullish on NEO here. We've come up to this bigger channel to the upside. We've continuously hit areas of resistance and sell off, and this little inverse hammer under the 20 moving average is not ideal. And just looking at the 15-minute time frame here, you can see we have pretty decent support at this 1960, 1950 level. If that does break, you do have room to fall to the 1823, 1760. Okay, for this to get really bullish, I don't know, there's just too much overhead for me. NEO doesn't move as fluidly as I would like it to. If you look at the daily, you have resistance at 2050, you have 20 moving average, you have lots of congestion price action. I'm not a fan of this. We need to respect that 1950 level. Possibly some sort of a falling wedge is happening here, but again, it's not ideal. You have to wait for more of a confirmation to get involved here, possibly a hammer, something bullish out of this falling wedge, and possibly preferably above the 20 moving average, then to start buying calls. Otherwise, it's just too choppy for me. I don't really day trade NEO too often. SQ for continuation to the upside. All right, so SQ is a nice one as well. Lots of names looking very similar here, guys. Breaking that resistance here on June 27th of around 72. Nice strong green candle above the 50. Volumes coming in. Let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. You can see from this area of resistance till where we are now, there's nice room. It's got room to push towards that 81.30 level. So let's take a look at the 15-minute time frame. I like how it's holding up. Again, very similar to other tech names here. Got that resistance, kind of putting in higher lows. For this one, you need to get above at least yesterday's high. Once you do that, you could buy some calls and can get that continuation to the upside. You had a strong continuation move yesterday. Now you just have to wait for another confirmation of that to the upside, and that's the 75.25 level. If it gets above that, you do have room on the daily, like I mentioned, not much resistance overhead. You could very easily give yourself an opportunity to make some decent coin on the day trading aspect if you get above 75.30. All right, those of you that are still here, please go ahead and smash that like button. Remember, every Thursday I do go live right here on YouTube. We go over the market, we go over the cues, we go over some free alerts. I answer the questions you guys have. And it's fun, man. I kind of look forward to these Thursdays every night. You never know what you can find on these YouTube live sessions. We've had some exciting ones in the past. But yeah, as always, I appreciate every single you guys for tuning in. I do got to get back into the Discord, get ready for my trading day. Make sure you guys are staying safe. Take a screenshot of those levels if you didn't on the SPY and the Qs. It'll help you guys greatly, especially if you don't actively draw levels on your charts. But yeah, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Go ahead and smash that like button. I'll catch you guys all right here next week on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.